Whether you're an atheist or a believer, you've got to accept that the hypothetical gods that are worshipped or believed in have some of the most bizarre and fascinating backstories, origins, and tales. These are in fact the primary reason why people take an interest in them. They are looked upon as supernatural beings by humans who dream of becoming like them, regardless of whether they were evil or good. And the list of such gods would number down to thousands, but we've reduced it to the 9 craziest and most badass gods ever. Get on any of these gods and goddesses' wrong side, and you're pretty much doomed. Keep watching, and you'll understand why. Number 9. Loki. In Norse mythology, Loki is a bit of a mystery because the accounts of his life are wildly different in many sources. According to some tales, he helps the gods. In others, he attempts to create as many issues as he can. But no matter how he is portrayed, Loki is always characterized as a trickster and a shapeshifter. He approached Odin and Thor when Asgard was still being built and offered his guidance. He advised employing a giant to construct Asgard for the Asgardians, as they were out of money to continue doing it. The giant demanded the sun, moon, and goddess Freya as payment. Loki reassured them that the giant would never finish the task on time, let alone by himself. And so the gods accepted on the condition that he would have to complete it within a month's time. Unfortunately, the giant had a companion, the extremely powerful horse Svadilfari, who assisted in keeping the city's construction on track. To distract the stallion, he transformed himself into a beautiful mare and led Svadilfari off to a distant forest. That's when Loki, still in mare form, became pregnant. The giant was unable to finish his task in the allocated time, so Loki returned to Odin and Thor, having successfully arranged the construction of a city and given birth to an 8-legged steed named Sleipnir on top of that. He gave Odin his young spider horse as a gift, and presto! And that's all it took for him to become a god. Number 8. Zeus. The list would be incomplete without Zeus, the father of gods and humanity. He reigns over his people from Mount Olympus in Greek mythology. Though he's famous for throwing lightning bolts, it took more than that for the king to keep his crown. Zeus is known for maintaining his position of power through deceit, brutality, and the seduction of several women. Before he could start ruling, he had to depose his own father, Cronus, who had been foretold by an oracle before Zeus was even born that one of his children would succeed him. When Cronus learned of this unpleasant information, he did what was reasonable and ate all of his already born children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. His mother Gaia saved him, and when he grew, he got out all of his brothers and usurped his father. Zeus unquestionably deserves the title of most powerful deity on the list due to his violence, cunning, insatiability, and incestuous nature. Number 7. Tawaret. Even though she resembled some vicious beasts, the Egyptian goddess Tawaret, also known as She Who Is Great, was largely considered by her devotees as a kind and generous being. She was revered in people's homes with sculptures and amulets rather than having temples constructed in her honor. The fertility goddess Tawaret is frequently shown as having a lion's limb and legs, a hippopotamus's head, a crocodile's tail, and a pregnant woman's belly and breasts, with a hole in her nipple where milk would be poured out. Her image was occasionally employed as a kind of pitcher. Perhaps the usage of this object was motivated by the idea that the milk would be endowed with supernatural qualities. Number 6. Apollo. At first glance, the Greek god Apollo, son of Zeus and twin to Artemis, seems like a kind of endearing deity. Then, you get to know him. Although Apollo is the god of the arts and guardian of humanity, he is infamous for having an explosive temper, which he undoubtedly inherited from his father. Apollo was known to threaten penalties like plague and illness if he was having a bad day. He once shot arrows infected with plague into the Greek camp during the Trojan War. He also enjoyed changing the appearance of women who rejected him or resisted his approaches. He changed his beloved Callidia into a sunflower and the lovely nymph Daphne into a laurel tree. For rejecting Apollo, Cassandra, the daughter of King Priam, and Queen Hecuba of Troy, received one of the greatest punishments. The evil deity gave her the power to predict the future, but only tragedies, with a top-up that nobody could believe her. Number 5. Aphrodite. Without the lust-driven, envious, and conceited goddess Aphrodite, what list would be complete? Either Zeus and Dione gave birth to Aphrodite, or Cronus castrated Uranus and threw his genitalia into the sea, resulting in the birth of Aphrodite. In any case, she emerged from the ocean surface in the form of an eternally glowing beauty. Zeus used to be concerned about Aphrodite's extramarital affairs, so he had her commit to marry the deity Hephaestus against her will. She still had several affairs and many children, most notably the deity Eros. Her vanity led her to be a cruel goddess on several occasions, but one of the most famous ones was when she caused Hippolytus's mother to fall in love with him because he chose not to worship her. Number 4. Odin. You can't have a list of powerful Norse gods and not include the king of the Aesir gods, the All-Father. According to Norse mythology, Ymir is considered the first deity and the source of the earth, and Odin was one of 3 brothers who were responsible for killing him. As the father of the all-powerful deity Thor, he was also one of the smartest of all Norse gods. Odin had access to magic that Thor does not, and he got it after hanging from a tree for 9 nights straight. More importantly, he had access to the runes, which are mystical writings that may be written on anything and provide the bearer with incredible power and wisdom. Odin acquired this ability after he gave up one of his eyes to drink from the Well of Wisdom, which has always been protected by Mimir the Wise. Number 3. Osiris. In ancient Egypt, the underworld god Osiris served as a metaphor for both death and rebirth. He was in charge of the yearly cycle of flooding of the Nile, which was vital to agriculture and the continued existence of the Egyptian civilization. One of the most significant myths in Egyptian culture states that Osiris, the king of Egypt, was cruelly killed and mutilated by his envious brother Set. Set became king while dispersing Osiris's fragments around Egypt. Isis, Osiris's bereaved wife and sister, set about collecting her husband's fragments and raising him from the dead. Horus, the couple's son, was made possible as a result. Osiris returned forever to the underworld after completing this mission. Number 2. Anubis. Anubis is the guardian of the underworld, or Duat in Egyptian language, and was also considered the god of mummification and embalming. This is quite interesting when you think about it. He was in charge of preserving the body as well as assuring safe travel to the Duat. Anubis at one point had also worked in the Judgment Hall as he was in charge of weighing the hearts as he judged the souls. He is considered to be the best Egyptian god because of all the different roles he had been involved in. Depending on the person, it could also be because of his stunning appearance of the jackal-headed god, but also possibly because of his very protective nature. And number 1. Tyr. You have to be incredibly strong to be the god of war, the title enjoyed by Tyr. And despite having just one arm, he was able to win a great number of battles. But how did Tyr lose his hand? The mighty god of war put his right hand into the mouth of Fenrir, the great wolf of Nordic mythology, as this was the only way for the animal to let itself be chained. Tyr was brave enough to pay a small price for the safety of all gods combined, which makes him a character with body parts of steel. We hope you understand the reference. And with this, we come to an end for this video. If you enjoyed watching it, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and also let us know your thoughts on this one down in the comments below. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay mythically mad.